If you were offered $100,000 but could only ever design using Comic Sans for the rest of your life, would you take it? Can I still draw out the other fonts with the pen tool? If you're a designer, you'd lose far more than $100K. I make more specifically by not using Comic Sans. Hell yeah. Nope. I could work with that. $100K isn't that big of an amount for selling out. Why is it bad? I'm also generally in the camp of Comic Sans is not a nice looking font. But isn't that relative? There are some people who legitimately have Comic Sans as their system font on their devices. They're usually of an older generation, but maybe the softness, the playfulness, the silliness is easy to read? Easier around the eyes? I don't know. But do you know? And especially the people who are like, this is so bad. You couldn't pay me $100,000, even $1 million to use it in my designs. Why is it that bad? Like, why is it so bad? Isn't this just kind of like a designer echo chamber maybe, where we are told Comic Sans is bad. Lots of designers agree that Comic Sans is bad. And so we therefore must also agree Comic Sans is bad. It's unsophisticated. I just want to understand why Comic Sans is so bad. Let's ask ChatGPT. Why do designers hate Comic Sans? Many designers dislike Comic Sans because they consider it to be a poorly designed typeface. The letters in Comic Sans are said to be poorly proportioned, and the typeface as a whole is seen as being too playful and informal for serious or professional uses. Additionally, because it is overused, it is often viewed as a cliche and lacks originality. But if we're going off of that logic, isn't Helvetica overused? Let's find out. Helvetica is a widely used typeface. It's certainly true that it's been used in many designs over the years. Some designers may see it as overused, but others appreciate its simplicity and versatility. The main reason that it is still in use is because it's a timeless font. It's neutral, easy to read, perfect for all types of designs. It's been used in many corporate identities, and so on, which is why it's considered standard. While some designers may find it overused, it still has its place in design as a classic and reliable typeface. Okay, so I would agree with that. I think Helvetica is a fantastic font, great font, and it works in many applications. But if we're going off of the logic that it is overused and cliche and too playful and informal and not good for professional uses, why not? Why don't we just decide that Comic Sans is appropriate for certain uses? Just a question. I don't necessarily believe that. But let's just say, so who decided that Comic Sans was so bad? The perception that Comic Sans is poorly designed typeface is widely held in the design community. Perception is based on the fact that the letters in Comic Sans are poorly proportioned, blah, blah, blah. Additionally, the typeface is heavily overused. Okay, it's the same answer. Designers, typographers, and other experts in the field have been critical of Comic Sans for these reasons. The creator of the font, Vincent Conner, also mentioned that the font was intended to be used for comics and informal usage, not for formal or official documents. Okay, yeah, I get it. I don't really think I want to see Comic Sans on my legal documents or contracts. But is every website professional and meant to be very formal? I don't think that's the case. Most of the internet that we use, aside from maybe Wikipedia or doing a Google search or certain applications or your online banking, yeah, Comic Sans would be a strange font to see in that context. But not everything is so formal. And I don't see using Twitter as a very formal professional activity. If we're critical of it because it's too playful, I say that's bunk. Again, I want to be clear here. I don't really like Comic Sans from just a personal opinion. I try to separate myself from what is the right opinion about Comic Sans or what is the wrong opinion to hold against Comic Sans. I just think, why? I just want to really ask that question. My personal opinion is that Comic Sans doesn't really look that good. I think it's just kind of like, here's what I think. I just had an epiphany. I feel Comic Sans gets an unfair amount of hate and flack. Not because it really is that bad, because there are lots of equally bad or worse fonts available right now on your computer font list. I think it's more of a meme. I think it's more of something that's developed and taken on a life of its own. And only designers and people in that creative design community adopt that mentality. But people who don't think that way, don't believe that, or don't even know. I think Comic Sans is to fonts what Nickelback is to rock music. Now, think about this. People always give flack to Nickelback. They hate them, they say they're bad, their music sucks, blah, blah, blah. But are they really that bad? You might personally not like them. I personally actually quite like them. One, because they're actually talented musicians. They have some pretty good stuff. They're entertaining. They're popular for a reason. They are also from my home province, Alberta. So Alberta pride, maybe. But here's the thing. They're not that bad. In fact, they're actually quite good. There's worse bands who don't get nearly as much flack or hatred. It's a meme. It's a groupthink where people are told they're bad. Somebody said it once somewhere. And that took on a life of its own because the internet, because memes, because of interesting psychological human behavior. Nickelback is not that bad. Comic Sans is not that bad. In fact, a lot of people like Nickelback a lot. If we're going off of the logic and what seems to be the case that Comic Sans is so widely used, it's so common, a lot of people probably like Comic Sans. If you gave Comic Sans and Helvetica side by side to a lay person, let's say a person who doesn't know design and they're not intimately involved in the design industry, they might think, hey, that one looks kind of fun. It's playful. It's kind of like I wrote it, you know? What a cool style. I want to make my personal website that Comic Sans, like the comic book. I like comics. I like Batman. Da-na-na-na-na-na Comic Sans. Like all day. Like I listen to Nickelback. Put it on. Look at this photograph. Come on. It's like, is it that bad? So let's just take a little look here. Let's go to rejiggle.co actually, and let's just inspect. And let's just change the base font to there. Boom. Let's look at it. Is it really that bad? I mean, it's not that good. I will be honest. But what if we like, I don't know, like cleaned it up a little bit? Let's use a little text rendering, font smoothing. Okay. Like, it's not so bad. I'm just saying, I mean, like it looked more clean before. And in this case, probably it's not the right use. Okay, like let's go to Google. This is very playful. Okay, so it's like a portfolio. Let's check it out. Let's go to the website, google.com. So this is very much playful. It's not meant to be formal and rigid. You know, it's very much like playful. It's flying in the face of rather, you know, design standards. It's meant to be silly and fun. It's kind of chaotic. So why wouldn't we use Comic Sans here? What if there's just like a Google Chrome plugin? Comic Sans everything. I'm gonna add that to Chrome. It has 4,000 plus users. It's categorized under fun, and it's got 4.5 star reviews. Let's read some reviews. 5 days ago. I don't know if this is ironic or legit. Best extension ever. Life-changing. I'm lucky I found this. My family was killed by Arial font, and this gets rid of all the trauma. Okay, so they're joking. Actual extension. This was life-changing. It moved me out. Okay. This is a niche community of designers who are in on the joke. Let's try it. Let's add it to Chrome. I'm probably going to regret this. Ooh, it really worked. Did it? It's working. Okay, look, it's silly. It is silly. But this website is silly. Look at this. It just makes sense to me. Let's pull up another site. Yeah, like, I don't know. I feel like if you were to show this to a non-designer, they'd probably be like, this is a cool website. And they wouldn't make any comment about the font at all. So let's turn it off and see what it's supposed to be. Yeah, like the font is fine, but I don't know. This is, what do you think? Better? Weirder? Worse? Totally off base? Hey man, like, just a messenger here. Just asking questions. I'm just trying to ask questions here. This is why people hate Comic Sans. Just like some of the more popular music by Nickelback is hated because it's popular. And it's also made a mockery of. But like, let's use it in a practical sense. Like, give it some honor. Put it in context to be like, ooh, that goes. I mean, I like that font. That's a nice font. But like, hey, we're trying to be silly and playful, right? So hey, why not? Boom. Switch it to uppercase? Maybe not. Let's not do that. I'm not quite there yet. That'll be a separate video. All caps Comic Sans video part 2 at some point, maybe. Who knows? But this is so fun. Random animations, The New Yorker. Like, it's meant to be silly. I don't know, maybe like websites like The New Yorker. I don't know, maybe it would lighten things up a little bit if it was in Comic Sans. Look at my Google listings, my Google search results are all in Comic Sans. And it just is kind of nice. It's kind of, it reminds me of the 90s on the internet. And you would call it that too. You wouldn't say the internet because we just say it so much now, internet. No. We called it the net. We're surfing the net, and that was literally what we said. So with this Comic Sans, like, I'm surfing the net. I just think it's 90s kids who are now designers who are just like kind of traumatized by broadband dial-up internet, surfing the web with Comic Sans. And then now they're traumatized by it. So they just say it's bad and then we all believe it. But I'm not quite so sure. I might leave this font on for a little bit longer. Comic Sans, everything. I don't know. Would you accept the deal, the offer by Daryl? I don't think Daryl's actually offering that. It's just a question. 100K to only design in Comic Sans? I think there's uses for it. Are you gonna never get a job in the design world again? I don't know. Maybe once, like, eventually the people who hold the opinion that Comic Sans is so evil and awful, like, age and maybe retire. Who knows? Maybe Comic Sans will make have a second wind, make a comeback. Maybe those young anti-designers, those Zoomers out there, maybe they'll bring it back. And then they'll take that 100K deal and run with it, and they'll be giggling the whole way to the bank. Thanks for watching. Get you in another one. Comic Sans off.